And I'll go ahead and set that up. But yeah, hello everyone. This is our fifth, sixth. I can't remember exactly which session this is. Afternoon tea. Jared, I'm glad this is your first time. Hopefully, I'll see you at many more. I do them on Saturdays at this time because we have people all over the world, and I try to record all these sessions. But having that, I find that I can make all these recorded videos. I can give you all sorts of prompts and resources, but the active back and forth, the conversation, is really where a lot of value can be found. So I kind of want that there. If you can't hear me, that's probably some setting on your end. So if anyone could let Arad know that you all can hear me, he just needs to change something there. I notice sometimes the permissions for school can be hard here. And again, if at any point you can't hear me or anything like that, that's the thing. Also, with every high tea or afternoon tea, again, just a quick reminder. I know for some of you, you're veterans in here. You've been in a couple. I have a slide deck, and I end up making one, and I make some extra markdown files and things. Every slide of the slide deck can be added with the transcript to then kind of direct any AI you have to remind itself to kind of move different directions. I try to make it so that all of you are going to be in there and understanding a lot of it. So hopefully that helps out. Can we see my screen? Is this good here? I hope so. That we amazing. Thank you, Jocelyn, for the thumbs up. All right. And so this slide deck kind of helps me, keep track because I can go on really long rants. A lot of people say they like my rants. There's a lot of value in them. But I'm gonna actually try to bring a couple of you on in here. First thing I'm gonna do is answer a kind of question, and then I wanted to give a little bit of time today, if we had it, for anyone out there who wants to maybe share something they're working on, whether it's finished, whether they have questions on it, and just kind of get some weigh-ins. We can all weigh in. And then I also have some prompts, some questions. I want to start making every single one of these a bit more interactive as well. And Natalie and Nass, okay, I'll try to remember you too when we get to that point, and I'll have you come up. I'll unmute you and whatnot and let you share your screen. Or maybe Aaron will be able to help me with that if we get to that point. Hi, Aaron. Again, everyone, thank Aaron for being here and being so helpful. Every single meeting, every single place I've been so far, he's just been constantly helping me out on whole other levels. So just huge shout out to him. And then, of course, Ari, she has been just putting so much information out there and is soon going to be making some amazing videos for everyone. But I've got to make sure all the systems are in place so that everyone's getting their, what do you call it? Not compensation. There's the other side of this, respect that they deserve as well, and structure. It makes it so that I'm trying to make this community. For those of you who don't know, I started this community literally like 2 months ago, and I had 0 systems in place, and it was just me until Matt came on board. So we've grown a little fast, and unfortunately, systems are required to keep things working well. But anyway, getting to the idea, today we're going to be answering a question from Rich. Then I'm going to be bringing on some audience questions really quick. After that, I'd love to have, I guess right now we could have Natalie and Nass. I'll ping you in for doing kind of a member spotlight. I got a couple questions for the room. You can just throw them in chat. And then just some ideas like, hey, I think this is something that maybe you should all try. Now, the question that Rich had is, he is highly technical. He has a hard science degree. He's technical project manager. He has a Sigma 6 black belt. For those of you unaware of what Sigma 6 is, it's this amazing program and certification process kind of around systems design, but lean programming is the best way I can explain it. For those of you who are Sigma 6, I am grossly simplifying what it is. It's a very challenging thing, but it's like, hey, how can I get systems design and processes and software working at the most lean possible way? He also knows a decent amount of Python and these processes. And he basically asked in our weekly kind of question submission, what skills should I learn to be competitive for AI roles? Now, there's a lot of things I'm going to say here. The kind of generic answers are going to be systems thinking, right? Knowing why things work, why they fail, over engineering is a problem. That's all super important. But I really want to hit on this concept. One, AI role is an iffy statement. You want to think of outcomes beyond just, because if it's just an AI role, part of that might be automated in the future. Part of that might just be an AI doing it. But if it's a role that heavily uses AI or the internet or some sort of software in some way, and it's getting an outcome, you want to focus on that, right? Your skills, what you know is going to be highly dependent on what you're trying to do, which is where we're going to want to look at your goal. And then also, I really think skills in the liberal arts are going to be exponentially more important over the next decade. Now, this is my assumption. This is based on the last few years of how I've been seeing things. This isn't a guarantee, but I'm putting all my money and my bet into that concept. So happy to have any pushback if you have any, but we're going to dive a little bit into that. So, um, the first part is systems thinking. It's actually, if you want to think about skills for the next decade, knowing why something won't work is actually the best skill. Not, hey, this is how it's going to work. This is what we need to do. It's going to be this dive into why won't something work? Not in a dismissive way or oh, we shouldn't do that. It's you can tell what the barriers to adoption or barriers to a goal are going to be before you start implementing them. And that really comes from a lot of experience and understanding that there. So being able to just sit there and relax. And I don't think Rich is in the call today. I would love it. So I'll have to send it to him directly after this. It's been amazing to have him come up and kind of ask where he's coming from. But if you're thinking anyone else out there, and this is why I take questions from the audience, is a lot of the times a lot of people are dealing with the same problems. It should be less about what skills you have and more about what experiences you have felt and seen and how you can apply it to your field. And then also understanding that, hey, sometimes software isn't the solution. Sometimes something more manual or more, I guess, abstract might be the solution. I know a lot of the times people will make these crazy integrations to make multiple AI agents talk together when they could just save a whole bunch of API calls and development time and even security issues and just have someone copy and paste something with a mouse. Right? Like sometimes moving data, moving something somewhere doesn't need to be heavily automated because it's already been automated and you have someone there doing something. I remember I was working with Pacific Life Insurance. They're this very large organization. I don't know if anyone knows them. And essentially, they kept trying to make in one of my groups that I was teaching, it was about 50 employees. They kept trying to make an agent that was pulling data from Snowflake and then handing it over to a ticket. And then they were trying to automate this whole thing. And I was like, hey, why can't you guys just upload an Excel file, like just every time you want to use it? And they kind of just realized they'd spent all this time because the agents were messing up the files. It wasn't always perfect every time. And I'm like, well, you could just upload it. Like you're here using it. You were actively trying to get a goal. Is it that much effort to just upload it, right? That click download, click upload. And yes, eventually you might want to automate it. There might be an option there. But is the process of trying to automate it now getting in the way of the goal? Are you over engineering solving a solution? Actually, let me pull up another slide. I just gave a long, I'm currently consulting a company called Field. They are out in the UK, I believe they're based, but they're worldwide. It's a dating platform, FEELD, and they focus based on people's desires rather than only who they are. But let me see if I can find the deck that I shared with them. Is it this one? Yeah, here we go. This is Champions Workshop. We were getting ready for something. But I kind of explained, and you might have seen this in one of my recent videos, this idea of effort to output, right? And specifically focused on AI. One of the things that we want to realize is at layer one, right? This is the idea of like you're just copying and pasting things. It's low effort and sometimes leads to decent outcome, but perhaps it doesn't lead to the outcome you're looking for. Perhaps you do want an automation at scale. You're not copying one or two files, you're copying hundreds of thousands. So then you might want to create something a bit more structured. But in order to make sure it works, you have to put a lot more effort in, right? As we come along the scale to get that output that you're looking for. And sometimes the output that you're looking for can be achieved with a lower level process inside of one of these larger processes. And it's understanding where and when you want something with like heavy design, heavy engineering, all the way to kind of just basic moderate effort processes. And this is kind of a issue in place that I'm seeing. A lot of people struggle figuring out what their workflow or their goal is inside of companies, as well as B, people will be building something that is, L3 level integration and effort, right? They're creating these custom data pipelines, but then the AI company creates a integration that makes it L1 effort, right? And they get absorbed. This is when we see a feature update making, because 3 years ago, to be able to get ChatGPT or Claude to create what it can create today with a couple prompts was a super challenging. I remember creating crazy like harnesses and doing multiple chats at the same time just to be able to get the AI to create a couple videos or a couple pictures 2 or 3 years ago. And it's that kind of same concept. So I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Now, going back to the next kind of step, and Natalie, I will be touching on the liberal arts thing here shortly. Um, is this kind of concept of just build, right? A lot of people worry about what they should be studying. Oh, I need to study this skill or I need to practice this. What should I study? If you're asking that question, you haven't done enough work. And I don't mean you're not working hard. I mean, you should try building something. A lot of people are like, oh, what skill should I do to get this job or this area? Think about the job that you want or the goal or the company that you want and start trying to build something for that goal. You will find very quickly what skills you are lacking, right? For me, when I first started out in tech, whatever, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, I was building computers for people. I was in my little college dorms. This is before the Marine Corps. Actually, maybe it's more than 12 years now. Oh man, I have to do the math in my head. And I was sitting there and I was just like, okay, well, I don't really know about electronics and static stuff. I keep breaking things because I didn't know. So I went and learned a bit more in that area. The other side of it is when I was trying to get jobs or when I was trying to figure out what I needed to do for my company, I started building solutions for people that were willing to pay me or work with me. And I found I was lacking certain skills that make that powerful. Then I went and bought software engineering books, or I bought time with someone to teach me, or something along those lines, because I knew what skill I wanted for the outcome and goal. Um, Building a city sim has led me to my dev process. Exactly, right? And sometimes it doesn't have to be for a job or productivity. What are you passionate about, right? I built a lot of things for my college project that I didn't get paid for. It was an ethics engine. I was looking at the weirdness of psychometrics inside of AI. And at the end of the day, it ended up giving me the skills or showing me which skills I needed. Natalie, you said, apologies for my ignorance, but are most people in this group looking for jobs or building businesses split? I think a huge portion of the premium and VIP members either already own a business or consulting or are looking to start one. However, there is quite a few who are in a really well-paying area or are at a high level where the opportunity cost, it makes more sense to go work for a startup or for somewhere else. I guess anywhere, yeah. Who in here? You're looking for a job, Toby? I'm here learning and job. But yeah, I think a lot of people either already have an agency or are looking to build a business and get customers specifically in this part. David, he just absolutely loves learning. I think he told me, David, correct me if I'm wrong, you came out of retirement specifically just so you could start building things again, which is super fun there. But yeah, it looks like a lot of people are kind of business owner and providers. Part of the revolution. I like that as well. So yeah, I guess for everyone in here, the idea would be what customers do you already have and how can you provide for them better? Right? That's going to tell you what skills you need to learn. Or B, how have you failed people before? How have people not wanted something from you? That tells you where your skill gap is. Then you go learn those skills. I think just trying to shoot darts at a board and be like, "Oh, everyone's learning this skill, I should learn it." I don't think that's what matters. You should align it with some sort of goal, right? And that's actually funny enough. I have an entire slide on that because I figured people would be talking about that. You want to think about what your goal is before you start developing skills. I didn't learn how to use AI and software and Python because I just thought it would be a good idea. I did it because it was aligned with what I was hoping to learn and it was required to achieve certain goals I have. I have this really weird goal. I tell people for years, and mark my words, this will happen, to be the ambassador of Mars, the first ambassador of Mars. The reason is not for what you think. I fully believe we're going to be in war and fighting each other. And the first thing that's going to happen when we get people and robots on Mars is they're going to argue about taxes. And I've been on the border of North Korea. I've been in the Middle East. I was in the military for a while. I know what happens when people argue about money and power and borders, and it gets ugly very quickly. And so I wanted to be someone who could stop that ugliness and lead to a level of peace before we get to that point. And in order to do that, I had to understand a lot of the parts of the world. One of the biggest parts of the world right now, I believe, is software, is the kind of digital realm. And of course, I had to understand AI to be effective in that world. It just happened that I was lucky enough to have the opportunities to work hard in those spaces around AI. Yeah, space law is going to be a huge thing. I actually already worked with a couple ambassadors in Germany, as well as some South Korean ambassadors on what kind of airspace law, space law would look like. This was maybe 3 or 4 months ago. It was a really cool international workshop. I'll have to share someone on that. Happening in MMOs to know. Yes, actually, I wrote an entire paper on virtual environments, games, and how economies and people form inside of them. And there's actually a lot to be learned from game environments, game theory that applies to the kind of big side of the world. But long story short, I'm still answering Rich's original question, which is your skills should be dictated off of your goals. Your goals will be dictated off of what you can do right now and what you want to do. And that's kind of just a feedback loop. You're going to screw up. You're not going to do it perfect every single time. This comes from someone who right now is still consistently screwing up, but you learn from those and figure out a better way to do it. I didn't come to my ICM method or my folder methodology because I thought I had a good idea. I came to it because I kept trying other ways and it didn't work as well as these solutions that I share with all of you. Um, and yeah, actually, here, let me. I have a couple. Actually, I'm finishing a book right now. I'll give you guys. I didn't share this at all. Um, this is one of. It's called Rise of the Virtual Vanguard. I've been writing this for about 2.5 years. Half of this has already been published in the Flagler Review, but it's called Rise of the Virtual Vanguard, and it's kind of a large expo on kind of the history of governance, my definitions of it, the ways in which we need to be kind of think treaties like Adam Smith or Rousseau or anyone like that, but focused on kind of political and economic environment. But I have a section. Let's see, it should be right down towards the fourth section that I'm finishing up right now called Virtual Nations. And I go back all the way to the 1990s where there's actually papers talking about this, and not virtual as in you go and live there virtually, but as in the interconnection of nations and ideas and politics separate from the physical, and kind of those areas. So I'll share some stuff with you. I think I have some things on my Substack already. Let me see. Boop, 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 posts. Let's go to actually. I'll share my Substack in here. I have all sorts of random writings on there. I think one good one that might be talking about it. I've been writing for years, years and years. I have like 6 blogs out there. You could probably, I have one that most people don't find because I don't SEO it. This is one of my first ever blogs, literally from like a decade ago. You can go back and see things. Let's see. Let's go. What's the most oldest thing? This was one of the first websites I ever kind of put together for myself. When was this? 2022. Okay, it's not as, this one's not as far. I thought I started posting. I wonder if it deleted some stuff. This is when I was really terrible and just starting, when I was traveling through Jordan. I was traveling through the Middle East for a couple months and met some crazy people. I looked insane, as you can see, the differences on all my ideas. But yeah, I wrote a lot on governments. I did some war journalism for a while. But yeah, check out that. Or another good one would be my KIP project for during my governance. So I have a master's in future governance from the University of Edinburgh with a focus in artificial and AI, artificial intelligence. This one I write a whole bunch on that. So Daniel, you might really like to dive into this. And I'll be writing a lot more on it. If you scroll back to maybe this older page, yeah, this was a funny one. Hitler, Skynet, and the Future of Artificial Intelligence. I wrote that in October of 2024. That was a weird one. And then, oh yeah, this one right here, redefining nationhood. I take some of it with a grain of salt. I would already rewrite a lot of this personally, but this is where I go into virtual spaces. Kind of, I compare GDPs of different companies and digital nations like VR and games, like actual games, and I kind of dive into some of that. So, like virtual structuralism, the Beijing Cyber District that they created back in 2008, and the failures of them as well, not just their solutions. This one's a little old. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. There's some fallacies that I personally don't like in it. But yeah, there's a lot of wandering in there, and everyone who's new to this, there's one of my rants. I get asked a question in there. Um, but yeah, long story short, focus on a goal. Most of my goals start with curiosity and then are paired with money in a job. Wherever I can find an overlap between these two, I usually find the most success. And then I kind of the skills that achieve both of these at the same time end up being the most useful. Jared, how are other finding clients for AI services? I'm currently working a W-2 job. So for me, I'm very biased. I think social media and not just Instagram, but just social, like sharing your work. And I recommend this probably once every week. It's this book here called Share Your Work, Share Your Work, Show Your Work, Show Your Work, Show Your Work. Very short book, very simple. I read it years ago, and I fully dedicate it to most of my success. All of my Substack, all of my writings are a portfolio. They are something that has a chance. It doesn't take 1,000 people or 1,000,000 people to see your stuff. All it takes is one person to see what you are doing that would want to hire you. And the more people that you can see that, the better, right? Like, so my Instagram, I get all of my clients through YouTube and Instagram now. Like, I do zero ads, I do zero outreach. And again, it took a lot of time. There was a lot of effort. Let me go to studio. I'm being super transparent here. So you're going to see numbers and things like that. But I had 200 subscribers in January. I have 48,000 now because I just started focusing and posting about what I do and what I believe in. A lot of people, like CTOs, have literally reached out to me because I am sharing and showing a solution to a pain point that I solved for them. So, like, let's see, the field, the company that I'm working with right now and is paying me, literally their CTO, Andrew, um, he reached out to me because of right here, because they saw, right, their EA emailed me first, and when I got on the call, he's like, yeah, I saw your YouTube videos and I had my EA reach out and we wanted to have you help us look at our AI strategy. So for me, I'm just sharing that I have done work, I can do work for you, I'm solving a problem that might be similar to you, and I'm posting about it, I'm sharing it, people are seeing it, and then they're reaching out, they're coming into the community. And I think it's not about saturation. It's about your opinion, your specific niche, right? There is no saturation in a world where there's thousands of problems and questions. There's hundreds and hundreds of issues. There's people who need water. There's people who need housing. There's people who want to organize their calendar, right? From all severities. So for me, I think the world of social media, the world of online, find a medium that you can just double down on and just share what you're doing. Even if you're not sharing the outcome, you're just sharing the process. Someone will find that. Someone will see that. You can send that video and you will start getting clients. Another way I got clients in the old days is I just bothered people. I'd knock on business doors and things like that until I finally, got them to say something to me. But yeah, that's one big way. So I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit there. Um, yeah, the income level, isn't that wild? I didn't know that either. Like, for those of you who didn't see that short, if you go into, let's see, YouTube Studio, and then if you're partnered on YouTube, it gives you something. So let's go earn, and then we go to partnerships, and we come here, Media Kit. There's probably somewhere else. I scrolled down to the bottom and I found they track the household income of people watching your channel. Most of the people who watch my videos on YouTube are in the top 10%, right? 60% of them. The rest are kind of skivvied in, which is interesting, right? Is I need to dive into. What am I teaching? What are the main pillars that makes high ticket clients, essentially? That's what this is, right? CTOs, CEOs, higher ticket clients. What about my content attracts them specifically? And so I've been trying to double down on what that is. And that's the kind of idea. Like, I've been posting for years and some people don't watch some of my, like, I really loved this video. I thought this was a great video. I had 300 people watch it. You know what I mean? And then I've got other videos that have over 100,000 views. You can't focus on the views you're getting per video. You need to focus on the interaction you're getting across all of them. And then that's how you start building, right? Yeah, this one got 100K. And then literally 2 days before it, barely 800. And that was this is actually the first afternoon tea that I ever had as a test. So yeah, just kind of important concept there. Let's see. Nass, hey Jay, can you break down more on your content strategy and everything you're doing specifically to make the type of videos you do? So there's two types. I do have a lot of effort I put into my content, but on the other side, I just talk about what I am thinking and feeling about that day. I pull up a whiteboard and I think about the arguments I've had. I think about what I'm seeing people having problems, and I'm just describing how to look at it, the why behind things that I understand. I'm just sharing my understanding or my frustrations. And I'm trying to share it in a way that teaches, that's educational. And that's it. I'm sharing my unique perspective in a world where unique perspectives are slowly averaging out because people are asking AI. I actually used to have AI help me with content and write scripts. I stopped doing that entirely because I realized my own opinions, my own ideas could be amplified by the AI, be that with various animations or studies, rather than it telling me what that should be. And then, yeah, I look at the community. What do they want? What are people asking? Those are all kind of questions. Natalie, I'm curious, how much time do you spend on producing YouTube content on average a week? It varies, but generally speaking, YouTube and Instagram take at least 2 full days. I'm talking like maybe I'm trying to time block better where it literally is Monday and Tuesday where I'm doing most of my recording and whatnot. But I would say 20 hours a week minimum I'm spending on content. Be that recording, editing, coming up with ideas. And I actually spend a lot more time trying to refine the ideas than I do recording them. I think a lot of people spend too much time trying to make a perfect edited video when you should just have a good idea. So that kind of goods. Oh yeah, I love Edge. Everyone always freaks out when they see that I'm using Edge. I don't know. I've used it for a while. I have Chrome as well, but I love it being on the side. I like that I can group, and you can do some of this stuff in Chrome as well. But Edge is there's a couple reasons behind it. A lot of clients I work with use the Microsoft suite, and there's integrations that make it simpler to work with them in certain ways. I love Chrome as well, which is there. I don't like Bing, but it's there. I don't use search as much anymore, which is kind of funny. There, I usually just scrape data myself now, which is where I think most people are going with it. But let's see, Rock. I see that a lot of other creative content areas are if you share ideas and people, yeah, stop focusing on viral, start focusing on who it is that you want to convert to work with you and or what it is that you want to share. Like if there's something that's just burning in your head and you're tired of people saying something, take the counter narrative. If everyone agrees with you, right? Like I don't know if anyone goes through any of my comments on YouTube. Like I get called an idiot, a grifter, a guru BSer every day that's just trying to sell courses. And I'm like, dude, my courses, I have 40 hours of free courses. I'm just trying to share what's working. And people are going to shit on you. Excuse my language, but that's a good thing. As soon as you create a opinion that's strong enough that someone can be against it, you now have something that you don't want to breed competition. You don't want to breed like what news channels do a lot is they try to breed that anger, but you do want to stand somewhere and be okay that people are going to be angry at you. I think that's important. Let's see. Jake creating content and courses. This is Highland with this. Let's see. Hey Jake, question. You've been camera shy. So I was like 10 years ago, but like I've been posting content for literally like 10 years, maybe longer. I mean, I don't even know if my channel's still around. Let's see. They might have deleted it. I used to like when I was 15, 16, I used to do a lot of longboarding and I used to be sponsored by my local skate shop. And I would build them computers and skateboard. I don't know if it's around any. Dang it, no, it's an older one. Oh, well, they tagged me. That was me in high school. That's forever ago. But like if you come and look at my page and you scroll down, I've always been posting about AI, but not like consistently. Like if you go back 10 years or 5 years on this account and you just keep scrolling, you'll see like when I started blowing up, is when I shifted my strategy. So this is one of the first videos when I actively was like, okay, time to post every day, time to share a very specific ideal. And I was practicing. But before that, I was kind of just sharing my travels, and then occasionally you would see an AI video. For those of you who don't know, like I traveled most of the world. I was very lucky, slept in hostels. I've bounced all around even after I used to live in Edinburgh. I used to take pretty good stuff. And during those, I would share whatever weird stuff. I'd try to just share what I'm doing. This is actually my first AI workshop at a college that paid me. I'd been doing them before this for free, but back in almost 2023, I had gotten Flagler College to pay me, and this was the first ever one. But I wasn't posting consistently. This is like one AI post out of a million. And then I was posting more before this. But yeah, I always shared my just things, right? And so if I would say if you're shy, worst comes to worst, no one sees it, right? Like let's pick one at random. Let's see. I mean, like this video. Oh, this is where I first cloned my voice for the first time. Yeah, I cloned my voice with AI. This was back in July of 2023. But as you can see, I didn't know how to post right. I was posting all sorts of things about my absurdity. So yeah, I would say just start posting. It's the only way to be less camera shy because then you realize people are gonna think you're weird no matter what. It's not. It doesn't matter, right? It does not matter. And on top of that, if this is gonna pay your bills, who cares if they think you're weird? Who cares if it's not working? It's not up to them. You shouldn't let other people's opinions dictate you, which is hard to break through. But it's one of those things. I kind of think there. Let's see what else we got. So you work one on one with enterprise customers, mainly teaching billing. So yeah. So believe it or not, the reason I'm able to so a lot of communities and school communities would charge for what I'm charging. Like this is all free, right? All of these courses, everything here is free. The only reason I put a paywall behind kind of some of the things we're doing is I get paid like a lot of money an hour. Some clients I charge 2,000 an hour because I'm doing transformational designs. So I needed some of the effort to be here. But I don't make my main source of income from school or from courses or anything like that. I have a large company called Aduba, not large. There's three of us, but we use AI to kind of amplify to like a 50-person team. And we essentially go through and work with large clients to build software, to do transformations. I've trained probably 1,600 people. The main thing we do is the training event is the data event. So basically, we come in and we look at what they're doing. We look at their workflows. We do a series of 4 to 6 weeks of workshops that generates data on the software that they need. And then either A, during those workshops, it's built by the people using it because we have AI now, or C, we build it for them. And it's just kind of this repeat pattern where you're able to lose the need for vendor lock in while simultaneously upscaling all of your people. Because I'm a big fan of the whole AI idea that AI isn't replacing people, it's an amplification, and people can actually abstract infinitely. So what that means is humans are efficient compute, as in if you look at all the compute we're spending on AI and you add a human to the mix, it makes it more efficient and cost effective every single time. I'm actually making a large video on this. So yeah, that's pretty much what my main company does. But I love teaching. I love practicing. I love learning with people. So that's why I set up the school for all of that. Again, that's why I'm doing most of this for free because it's exciting. It lets me learn. I learn while I'm teaching. It's one of the best ways to learn is to teach. So yeah, that kind of hope that kind of answers your question. Let's see now. Oh my gosh, we're getting all sorts of questions. Let's actually skip ahead then to that. Yeah, actually this is a good time. And then let's see. We've got whoever they are, keyboard warriors. Yeah, people in Udemy are going to have a field trip cloning your work. Yeah, I mean that's fine. Clone it all day. I try to automate myself infinitely. I love when people try to copy me because here's the thing: I'm insane. I am absolutely insane. I wander around barefoot with my pig and my chickens in my garden, talking about how solar panels on leaves are the most technologically efficient thing in existence, and humans could never build it. I think the world, the place we live in, is infinite. There is no way to copy enough to replace. Right? I mean, look at you could have a Chinese factory that prints and pumps out Rembrandts. That doesn't make the original Rembrandt less valuable. I think it is the action, the very single. It's actually the fact that it's not repeatable. There's certain mistakes that I make, certain weirdness that I do that makes me valuable, and I think that's where most people find their value. So yeah, I hope people clone my work. Go for it. I can make infinite work. If I just walk outside and build, the human's most powerful thing is our creative ability, and I think AI just allows us to create faster. which doesn't necessarily mean better or worse. It's just another tool that's at a whole other level. For now, I think we're going to have some issues with consciousness debates every week or so as we come along now. But Natalie, I'm struggling to navigate what content inside school is going to make the highest ROI. I'm just building AI workflows or literally building custom software. Outcomes. How can you use AI in a way that leads to your business's outcome faster, cheaper, or more quality? So for me, it's really dependent on where you are, Natalie, as a company. But whether it's the content in my school or something, oops, I didn't mean to close that, or something else outside of it, what I teach is the fundamentals, the why, right? Like my whole series here is on the why. Why are you doing something? What is the reason behind it? So that you can then decide the why behind your area. And I just happen to see that folder structure is the simplest way to get to the why and then automate it after. If you want a custom software inside of your company, then go for it. But it should be attached to a need that you are solving. If you need to hire people, is there a way that you can get around that need? If you want to hire people and give them a tool that does more, that's another aspect. If you're trying to create more value to your competitors, can AI lower your costs so that you can give the original quality away for free and then do something more? That's what I talk about here in the latter video. Or are you trying to do other weird stuff, right? Like my implementation playbooks. And the other thing is too, I'm still building more stuff to these courses, right? I'm going to be adding more to these. I just added this week, right? This module 0. I'm going to have more instructors. Ari's going to have her own area. David has his corner. So it's really going to come down to what it is you're trying to solve, which I know is a kind of hard answer. But that's where it is in a lot of ways. Question: a lead engineer in Anthropic named Tariq made a remark. Oh yeah. So his thing was kind of taken out of context. HTMLs are great for output, but they are not necessarily great for token usage. I don't believe HTML is replacing markdowns in the concept of, you're sitting here and you have, let me pull this up, right? Like the difference between an HTML page, right? Let me see. I think I have one, right? That's a lot of extra tokens I don't need. Look, I haven't even set a prompt yet, and I have all these tokens. That's my prompt. That could be 2 lines. That could be 1 line in a markdown file, right? So HTML is great when you actually open it and look at it. If you're asking the AI to give you an output in like as markdown, this is way worse to read than an HTML when it's open, right? But markdown as an instruction, as an input, is far, 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 far more token efficient. So a lot of people are taking it out of context. Tariq and then as well as Kaparthi, they both are telling people to use HTML not because they think it's going to replace Markdown, but in terms of replacing Markdown as an editable environment. Having an HTML dashboard that I edit, which then edits Markdown in the back end, that's great. I think that is where a lot of people are going to be. Personally, I'm simple. I just like to read my Markdown, but I know a lot of people who have like a large HTML background that they're doing it with. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. Other people say that using the divisions in Markdown allow you to create things there. You have to remember the model isn't reading this as Markdown. It's reading it as tokens that represent Markdown. So every single one of these words, these tokens, is drifting the model into a certain direction of decision making. This gives you less control over the output of what you want there. That's why I like markdowns. It's very, very basic. This is a title. Every little piece of this, think of every word as a coordinate pushing the model to output thought. It has all of the thoughts already inside of it, and you are giving it coordinates to generate an output of the map that is thought, right? So you want to be able to control it. But that's just my 2 cents on HTMLs. I think it's great for output, for looking and refining what's in there. But in terms of token usage, it's going to enhance your token usage by massive amounts. There's a conspiracy there that they're telling people to use HTML so they burn more tokens. I'm hesitant. I think people are just taking it out of context and saying that that's what they wanted to do. But maybe there is. I mean, there's companies will market and try to get you to make them more money. So I wouldn't take it completely out of there. Alan, I am finding pain points within the company I work in and help automate it. I'm just encountering finance. I have 3 internal pitches next week, one for Denmark. Um, yeah, no, being able to find them and actually look for them. What you want to think about is who the audience is. Right? Those pitches should always be based around the audience. Here, I'm gonna while I'm looking through these, I'll bring these up here for you all. I believe HTML is a common language for AI, but Markdown is not bad. But most of the client, yeah. So it's a balance. The AI should be reading Markdown or some version of it. There's also some different programming languages that are also quite good, that kind of take that away. But I think at the end of the day, you shouldn't be using HTML for everything. That's a lot of token usage that you just don't need to. Love the authenticity. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh yeah, yeah. I cannot tell you. So here's my school DMs. They're just completely, and again, it's more than 99. I'm rolling through that. Then we've got Instagram, which is just, I mean, in the last few days, it's luckily Aaron helps me go through a lot of these. But I mean, it's just constantly getting full of more requests and process. Then I've got Facebook, and then I've got YouTube, and then I've got 4 emails. So I try to make time to respond to everyone, I swear, but it's a little rough. Client work is also information. Limitation is a great imitation is greatest form of flattery. Absolutely. Find it dependent on vertical and situation. Yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Depending on where you are in the workflow is important. Is super important. I don't have time to watch a ton of why content. I'm curious about structures and how you deliver value to clients. So you might want to change your mind on that. To deliver value to your clients, you need to ask the question of why. Because right now, how and if, like being able to build software, being able to create a solution has never been easier. So the problem now is, why are you building that solution? Do you need that solution? In a world full of answers, clients aren't going to want more answers. They're going to want the right questions so they can come up with their own answers to give you so that you can do the work of value. Most of your clients may want you to pick up stuff, may want you to make decisions, but you need to be able to ask that question of why. I do have some work here or there inside where I talk about work that I'm doing with clients. I do a lot of that in the high T, and other people explain in the high T's how we actually build for clients and things like that. But at the same time, I do want you to consider the question of why. It becomes extremely important there. Yes, this video is going to be all in the vault. So the whole thing is going to be recorded as well. Asking multiple questions. Yeah. And also, that's the other thing, too. Don't just use me as a answer, right? There's lots of other people building things and doing things and kind of putting stuff together. So definitely ask them questions. There's a lot of business owners. There's a couple people in the VIP chat that are running 160, 200 person companies. There's some very, very brilliant people in this community. So don't just take it from me as well. Opus 4.7 burns more tokens because it's using more subagents naturally. So 4.7 is technically 4.6, but with harness built in to automatically send out subagents. So yes, 4.7 will automatically burn a lot more tokens. How do you handle very large monolithic legacy products with skills? Lots of Claude MD files. If something is monolithic, it's hard to deal with no matter what you use, whether it's AI. I often try to do the hard work of just rebuilding separations of concerns. But if you absolutely have to, like, let me show you one project that we're kind of looking at rebuilding for someone right now. They had a huge code base. These are all markdown files for their agents. 90% of this might not even be needed. Look, I mean, hundreds of thousands of lines. So I'm going through and fixing some of it and organizing them better. One of the best ways to do that is organize it by thought. So if you need that data, if you need that understanding of each area, you go into the actual code base, and instead of having these all in one giant area, or you have, barely any separations of concerns, you're actually going in and here's all of the main code of this code base, right? Let's say we go into their packaging service. I'm going to add a markdown file here that describes what part of this code base should do. And I slowly just kind of do the work. But I'm going to be honest, a lot of people, and you're not going to like this answer, and a lot of people don't. Sometimes it just is the hard work of reading through it, right? We read through hundreds of lines of code. One of my most recent YouTube videos, I was sharing, me and my team on a live call, we spent 3 hours reviewing this code base line by line, looking at those things that sometimes is still needed, right? There's once in a while people are, because you have to remember, behind this code is also hundreds of thousands of lines of lower code, right? Compilation. You have C code, you have machine, you have assembly. Some people still do read and refine that too. It just depends where you want to be. Is this, so for me, reviewing code is valuable. It might not be valuable in your business, and you might want to hire someone else to do that. Or you might want to just not do it at all and find someone that you can hire to do it manually. Again, there is no perfect way to do things. A lot of people argue there's a best way. There isn't necessarily. I mean, I will argue my folder structure is the best way to start with agentic systems, but that's something I kind of want to dive in there. Yeah, asking the right questions. The answer is 42, but what's the question? Yes, you get it. Exactly. Within reason. Of course, you want more applicable stuff. And I'm not shutting down your desire for that. Like, that's still, like, seeing how someone does it live is super important. I use Sonnet for 90% of what I do. Yeah, I use Opus constantly. I just use Opus and Codex 5. I use the highest reasoning version for everything, even simple questions. I'm very fortunate that I don't mind burning massive amounts of tokens. And most of the time when I'm asking it to do something, I've already thought about it. I'm not having it do the thinking. I'm spending a lot of the time beforehand deciding what the thinking should be and then just telling it to act on that thinking. So I end up not using many tokens anyway. Where do you draw the line between UI and CLI? Personal preference. I for 90% of the work I do, like with AI, I'm in VS Code. I'm probably 95%, where I just have the good old plugin in VS Code, and not even just code work. Like, I'm talking creative work, right? Any sort of work in that field. Let's see right here, right? Oh no, is this two UPHQs? What the heck? I thought I had my writing. Yeah. Like, I'm making videos, I'm making animations in here, right? Like, a lot of this stuff, this is some client work I'm doing. They wanted corporate explainer videos, and I'm building them an entire kind of automated system that's based on all their research and processes. I spend most of my time in here. I built UIs for myself. I think it's a lot of companies, a lot of people need UI, but I'm hesitant to say myself. So it's personal preference. If you think the people you're working with need UI, then build them the UI, because some people don't want to spend all their time in here. Some people don't understand it or don't want to understand it. And that's where the value lies, right? That's where a lot of these, companies are making their money, is for the people who don't want to dive that deep into it. I realized I said that I would let people up, and I love answering these questions. This is exactly how I like these sessions to go. And I'd love to keep chatting, but I do have my high tea coming up for my VIP members, so I need to get ready for that. But I also would like to give a second, maybe these last 5-10 minutes here, for Natalie and Nass to maybe come up and say what they wanted to chat about. Let me I think I can come here and give you permission to wander up. Should be too easy here. So Natalie, if you want to kind of just come up real quick and share what you're working on or what you're doing, and then I think Nass, you said you wanted to share. Because again, I can give value, but it's nice to hear what other people are doing, how you're doing it. It's important there. So yeah, please wander up if you'd like. I think you should be able to unmute yourself and chat real quick. Let me know if it doesn't let you.
Work.
There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Hello. Hi, Natalie.
Super cool. So what I've been building with clients is like AI operating system for someone who owns a business and is wanting to take work off their plate and have AI help them do it. So yeah, I guess I joined because I was like, very few people talk about the file and folder structure and like how it actually works in the background. But I'm trying to figure out. Actually, just yesterday, I completed my first. I've built AI, like you could think of them as like single agents, but I built like an agentic team for this two partners that own 8
Mhm.
different cities or whatever. So I've like made a whole bunch of mistakes. I've learned a whole lot, and so I'm just curious. What you said about the right question is helpful, um, and I'm making a bet that in the future, the way that we use AI is like there are some laws of physics that I think are constraints for us. Like, I can't have
Okay.
more than maybe 3 chat sessions open before my brain's like, "Okay, that's too much." So
Absolutely.
my bet is we're gonna use AI like Tony Stark uses Jarvis. I'm gonna have one
Mhm.
AI that's capable of doing many, many things for me, and so the thing I'm focused on right now is how do I build up capabilities inside of my AI team to do what I want it to do when I say do this.
Absolutely.
So I guess I don't know, that's where I'm building, and I'm curious like how where in school should I be looking? What kind of questions should I be asking?
I guess for you then, one of the biggest things you want to look at is wherever I talk about maybe productionation, so productionizing your opinion. So once you've gotten that, let's assume really quick that you do all of that. Assume that you automate everything perfectly that you're looking at automating. Then what? What is it the value that you're giving as a company? Where are you providing the most value for other people? Are you sharing that automation? And then further, in 4 or 5 years, is that automation going to be a feature in Claude or Codex, right? Um, to me, the thing that won't be a feature is your opinion, your processes, your company. Because not every company has operating procedures and there's good ways to do it. But once you hit a certain level of value, you're going to be wanting to question kind of, you know, like let me bring this down to the coding side. There is 1,000 ways to automate something and 1,000 different computer languages to automate that thing. If you ask a C sharp programmer, a Python programmer, a JavaScript programmer, a full stack developer, how something should be done, each of them will build a completely different solution that gets that thing done. The argument then is the time, the cost, which one you like more, what the customer wants, can you distribute it well? It all becomes opinionated, right? Vice versa in politics. People will say they have a best politician, but what does best in politics mean? It is very, very relative. And I think we're going to start ending up in that area. Now, inside of school, I will say personally, being transparent, I think we're lacking a little bit in what you answers you would have there in terms of just asynchronous courses. The reason is I do have like in my VIP drawing room, all of our sessions that are recorded, we chat into individual processes where someone is actually building out, why they would want to build it out. And same inside of this one, the vault here. A lot of that we're hitting. I don't know if you watched this in the vault. It's the 60-30-10. This is me deciding architecture, and I actually share literal clients I'm working with right now. This is why I decided my decision making process. Have you gone through that at all? Or
No, I've
okay,
gone through some.
this one, I would recommend listening through because I built a huge like data process for a kind of defense partner. And then I did a partnership with a machine learning company, but I
Cool.
chat about the AI slash my process of 60-30-10, which is what should I be building and when, and how a lot of it's traditional. And then I kind of put it all together as the system underneath. And I also give some prompts, my personal prompts that you can then build in your own stuff, toss into Claude, and then have it interview you. You have access to this right now, so you can go wander into this. You don't have to give me anything extra or anything. If you're in this call, you have access to it. Um, and these are like, hey, here's the leverage map because it's cool for me to train you. It's cool for me to share data on what I did with other companies, but the real power is going to come from your situation, your bespoke area. So
Yeah.
for you, I think the highest value, if you were just ignore everything, would be to go check out this area. And then also offer me more questions here, right? For the next afternoon
Yeah.
tea, if you want to submit a question or something specific, I can respond to it on here and I can be prepared because if you saw a lot of the PowerPoints I have, I build specifically around people's questions, so it gives me a little bit of time to actually like answer them as well.
Okay.
Does that help? I hope a
Yeah,
little bit.
it's interesting to think I'm totally here for think different and what am I not seeing and building things from first principles, like looking into the future and saying what is going to be defensible in the long run. Like the whole liberal arts thing, I was kind of curious more about, but yeah, that's
Yes.
helpful and
Oh, yeah,
all.
we didn't get to that one,
It's all good.
because I guess I'll talk on that real quick then, and sorry, Nas, if you I'm gonna leave this video, um, or the call going. I'd love for Nas for you to share as well. I do need to go to my VIP call, that's in 3 minutes. But I do want to share real quick what I explained. The reason I think the liberal arts side of things is going to be so important is going to be because at the end of the day, right? Um, the process of all of this, the once you get to a high enough level in any business, in any technology, you start getting into the weird stuff, the place where there is no best, right? And so liberal arts, a lot of those processes, whether it's philosophy or political theory or art and history, gives you patterns to look for and processes to think about to have those answers faster, to get to those points of view quicker than rather just having to fail, right? Failure is the best way to learn anything. But if you want to avoid failure, then you have to learn from other people's failures and thoughts, which I think liberal arts is the entirety of liberal arts is the history of people trying to guess what's right or their failures in trying to get it right. Political theory is one big argument of what we think is right and wrong, and other people arguing two different points of it or six different points, right? And so in studying those, you get to see patterns that I think you can apply to a lot of business situations. It's why you see a lot of CEOs of the largest companies in the world actually have philosophy or language arts degrees, especially now. And I think AI is making it so that that is more valuable, not less. The fuzzy areas is kind of where it is. Lastly, I guess, man, I wish we had another minute or two with this because I went 30 minutes over time. Usually afternoon tea is only 30 minutes, but I love talking with you all. And I think there's a lot of value there. Is just kind of, I'd love to leave some of you with these questions. What's the hardest thing you're stuck on right now? What is working that surprised you? And what would you tell yourself 6 months ago? So that last one I think is the most important is what would you do to teach yourself 6 months ago to get to where you are now or not get to where you are if you made a mistake, right? In 3 months, right? How do you condense that time? That's something you can be sharing with other people. Your ideal customer should be a customer, it should be you a year or 2 years ago, because that's who you're going to be able to help the most within reason, of course. Obviously, you might want bigger, like enterprise client. You're not them, but every person in that room is struggling to use something that you are trying to teach them that you had to learn on your own. So I'll leave everyone with that. I'm going to go